welcome to today's edition of A Walk in My Shoes. My name is Kayla Powell and I'll be your host, and today we have with us Kim, who is a personal fitness trainer. Welcome, Kim, and thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure, and it's great to have you today. And CLC does have a few personal training programs with On Your Left and the certificate program. So I'm sure we have some youth tuning in today who would love to hear from you and love to hear a little bit about what you do day to day and how you got to where you are. So if you could just start by explaining what exactly a personal trainer does and kind of like what your week looks like.
Sure. So I typically work when people are available to work out. So that means I'm getting up at 4:30 most mornings and start training at 5 a.m. for the people who have jobs and they're going to a 9-to-5 job. I basically work from like 5 a.m. till 11 a.m. I take a break and then I come back at it from 4 p.m. till 8 p.m. That's most days through the week. And then, some random hours on the weekends too, for me. Now, a lot of trainers are super busy on the weekends and maybe they just work mornings or just work evenings, but that's a week in my life. I do have two young kids at home, not young, but younger kids at home that way I can still, be home for them as well. So that's the reason I do that schedule. But personal trainers are kind of at the beck and call of their clients.
Right. And I'm sure it can be difficult with people in the workforce, just trying to schedule them, squeeze them in the morning or in the evening, or sure, I'll do a Sunday morning when I'm typically doing something else, just to try and squeeze everyone in with such busy schedules.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So can you tell us a little bit about your schedule? It's not the traditional 9 to 5. You have pretty early mornings, very early mornings actually, and then you're up decently late considering how early you wake up. Does that take a toll on you? Do you get to rest or nap in the middle of the day?
Yes, so I used to feel guilty saying this, but I no longer do. I love my 20-minute power naps in the middle of the day. It keeps me sane. Yes, absolutely. So I have a break every afternoon, and I will go home, make my lunch, and take a power nap, and I'm good to go for the rest of the evening.
There you go. Yeah. I like to try those 20-minute power naps, but sometimes I always find myself asleep a little bit longer than that.
I have done that as well, so I've learned to set my alarm.
Yeah. So did you always know you wanted to be in personal training? If so, how early on did you know that was your calling?
So when I was a junior in high school, I realized that I was diagnosed with a spinal abnormality. And so I went to doctor after doctor after doctor, and I went to a neuromuscular therapist, and it was the first person that really I found pain relief through. So that's when I knew that I wanted to do something to help people and something to help the body as well. So physical training, massage therapy, neuromuscular therapy, all of that I was interested in from when I was a junior on. So so after I graduated high school, I went to a school for alternative medicine because my interest was neuromuscular therapy, and studied anatomy and physiology. And then from there, I did several certifications in personal training. So my latest certification is NASAM, Certified Personal Training and Performance Enhancement Specialist.
Okay, wow, that's awesome. So you have a bachelor's degree in your field, is that correct?
Actually, no. So in personal training, I have certifications. My background is in neuromuscular therapy. From there, I went into personal training. They all go together, to be honest. I mean, my interest in the human body just led me into how I could help strengthen my own body, because they told me that I had to quit all sports when I was a junior in high school. So I was very active, and they told me that the slightest movement could cause me to be paralyzed, and I did not accept that. As a 16-year-old, very active, I was like, there has to be a way to combat this. So that's when I became interested in how to strengthen the core muscles. And I'm a very functional trainer. Most of the activities that I do, most of the exercises may look a little strange to people because they're very functional. So I won't just do, I mean, I do regular exercises as well, but I'll add a lot of rotation, a lot of movement, and just to strengthen your core. So something that a motion that you would do every day is kind of how I train. So I train to enhance performance, as well as for the people who want to get in shape and be leaner and all of that. But my passion is to help people feel better.
Awesome. And that's great to hear. I think we all need someone to help guide us in that way. Yeah, so that's awesome. I'm sure your clients are super appreciative of the hour or two that they might spend with you per week.
Well, I'm appreciative of them. I have amazing clients.
So how much time do you spend with your clients per week? Is it usually just one session per week that you're checking in on their progress? Or do they meet with you multiple times per week?
It depends on the client. I have a handful of clients that train with me one time a week just to kind of maintain and check in with me. And then I have clients that train with me 3 times a week. So it just depends on their schedule. You know, it depends on their finances. So it depends a lot of things. But yeah, typically 1 to 3 sessions a week.
Okay. Okay. And back to your certifications that you were talking about, do you continue to educate yourself? Do those certificates expire at any point? Are there specific books that you like to read up on for just a refresher or newfound knowledge?
Yes. So the fitness industry is constantly changing, but it always stays the same, if that makes sense. So the foundation of fitness stays the same, right? You can only do a squat a certain way, but the technology and the science behind it is always changing. So we are required to take continuing education classes and courses to stay up to date with that knowledge. And also the trends are always changing. So one of my other passions is teaching group fitness classes. And I want to make fitness fun. I want you to get up in the morning and want to come in to take a class or to do a training. It shouldn't be a chore. It shouldn't be something you dread. It should be something that you enjoy. So I try to find fun fitness classes to entice people to come in and enjoy their workout. So you have to stay up to date on what's going on out there in the world. And people want to come in and try the latest, greatest exercise class.
Right. Yeah. That's great that you continue to watch those trends and give your clients the best and flexible and more options, and definitely keeping it fun. I'm sure that helps everybody, you and them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So talking about certifications a little bit more, I'm sure that you have to be CPR certified as well as some other certifications as far as safety goes.
Yes. Yes, you're required to be CPR certified. Some gyms have other certifications as well, first aid. And so it depends on the facility that you work at, but CPR is definitely required there, as well as a accredited personal training certification.
Okay. And you have your own business, is that correct? For personal fitness training?
Yes. So for the past 10 years, I've owned my own personal training business. It's called Proven Results Fitness. But recently, in the past 2 weeks, I just accepted a position as fitness director at the new Little Turtle golf course. They just opened a fitness center here. So I'll be personal training, teaching group fitness classes and managing the facility. So I'm super excited about that. I am still training my private clients and doing both jobs right now. So
Wow.
it's been fun.
Well, congratulations. That sounds like an awesome position, especially at a brand new club, to get some new
Thank
faces and spread the word of not only personal fitness, but maybe even your private practice.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes. And it's a beautiful, brand new, clean facility. So it's been wonderful coming in here. And we limit it to 8 people at a time due to COVID. So it's very clean, very safe environment to work in.
Yeah, that sounds great. It sounds like you've had a great experience so far.
Absolutely.
So back to your personal business. About how many clients do you have? Is it hard to juggle the schedules? Do you work out where they work out? Do you go with them to a facility? Do you have your own facility? What does that look like?
So I used to train at different facilities around Columbus, but like 10 years ago, I started my own in-home training service. So I have a small gym set up in my house, or I travel to clients' homes as well. In my own home, I would allow up to 4 people to train at a time. So I would do groups to keep the cost lower. And sometimes it's just more fun with more people there. So the more the merrier. And it's also more cost effective too. So I train several groups. And people think I work out with every single one of my groups, but I don't. I pick one group, and like I was telling you earlier, I'm a mid-morning exerciser. I get up and train at 5 a.m., but I like to work out myself at 9:30-ish. So I have a group that I designed that's 3 people at a time, and I'm the 4th person. So I work out with that group. And then the rest of the day, I train people, and I'm not working out with them. But I also teach classes, so I stay super active, which is part of the reason I love my job so much.
Yeah, that 9:30 group has an advantage. They're trainers working out with them. That's pretty cool.
It's either an advantage or a disadvantage,
You're
because I may
right.
make them go a little harder.
You're right. Yeah. I don't think I would want to be in that class. I would choose a different one. Well, that's awesome. Definitely awesome to hear that you give them the flexibility to either come to your home or you'd come to them. That's awesome. And definitely probably motivating to some of your clients that they can work out from the comfort of their own home, or if they need that different atmosphere, that they can come to your house and have that different atmosphere but still feel safe.
Yes, absolutely. So I have a lot of people who, they're really busy, and when they get home from work, the last thing they want to do is get in the car and drive 20 minutes to the gym. So it's very convenient for them, and having an appointment with me helps them stay committed to their schedule.
Right. Yeah. So how do you deal with cancellations? Um, I'm sure some people throughout the day, I had a really hard day today and I have an appointment with you. I'm just not feeling it come 5 o'clock. How do you handle that? Because that's a big deal for you.
It is. So unfortunately, it does happen. So the rule is 24 hours notice or you're charged. With my private clients, I have become more flexible with that. And fortunately, honestly, I don't have a whole lot of cancellations. The only time there's cancellations are when somebody's child's sick, and I totally understand that. Or when, there's something, but I don't get a whole lot of cancellations. So I don't run into that very often. But as a rule of thumb, especially when you're running your own business, you've got to stick to your guns, and you've got to stick to the standards that you set in place, or then people will start taking advantage of that. So I would say for any personal trainers that stick to the whole, if you don't have a 24-hour notice, then you will be charged for that session.
Right.
It's hard to do that.
Yeah. It sounds like you're pretty understanding though when something last minute pops up that they can't necessarily control. But yeah, just becoming not motivated throughout the day, it sounds like they should be charged. Because
Yes, absolutely.
that time slot, you can't get that time back. You can't book someone within the next half an hour. So that's time and money that you've now lost.
Right, right. And I think people are pretty understanding of that because that's the same way in the service industry. If you're a hairstylist or a dentist or whatever you do, if you're missing a client or a patient, then you're missing that, you know,
Right.
that financial agreement too. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you have a pretty good group if you don't have many cancellations. So that's good.
I have wonderful clients.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you have any people who work with you in your private practice? Do you have any like assistant trainers or anybody that helps you with scheduling, or are you a one-man team and you do it all?
I am a one-woman show. I've been doing it all. Now that I have the new position at the Little Turtle Golf Club, I will be hiring some assistant people to help out and some group fitness instructors. So we'll have some people underneath me at some point. But as in my private business, it's just been myself.
That's awesome. And I'm sure it's been hard for you to handle all of the aspects of your personal fitness training business on your own, plus taking on this new job. I'm sure you've had stressful days. Have you ever thought, man, this isn't for me, this is too much?
Not for a minute. So don't feel bad for me because I'm working long hours, because I love what I do. I honestly do. I tell my kids all the time that I have a job, but it doesn't feel like work. And if you could see what I'm wearing, I'm basically in pajamas every day. So I'm in leggings and stretchy, comfy clothes and tennis shoes. And so, I mean, I've got the best work outfit, and I love my clients. I love what I do. So even though the past couple weeks I've been working 10, 12-hour days, it doesn't feel like work, to be honest.
Yeah, that's great. You're definitely, it sounds so passionate about what you do. And you always hear, it doesn't feel like work. I love what I do. But some people can't find that right away. So it's great to hear when people either know off the bat what they want to do, or they finally find it after searching. If we have some folks searching today, is there any advice that you would give them if they're interested in personal fitness training but not quite sure it's for them, they're just getting their feet wet? Do you have advice for those folks?
Sure. I would say that if you're interested in personal training, figure out the reason why. So that may be the key to happiness or not happiness. So if you want to do personal training because you want people to listen to exactly what you say and have perfect bodies as their outcome, that's probably not going to go well. As a personal trainer, that obviously is an aspect of it, but I have found that having people skills and really caring about people and their whole well-being and finding the right balance is the key to success, is the key to me being happy. Because if I would be like, okay, I need you to do, 5 days a week and run this and lift that, and they're not going to do it, it starts to become frustrating that, I'm giving you the keys to be successful and you're not doing it. You've got to understand how the emotions and the physical body come together and find the right balance for each individual, and everybody's different. So what works for one person may not work for another person. So I would say if you were on the fence about becoming a personal trainer, really dig deep and figure out why. If it's because you want to help people and you love people and you want to find that balance, and it's almost, I joke with my clients like I'm a personal trainer / therapist, because you get to know everything about them. Yeah. So if that's appealing, go for it. You're going to be so happy and so successful.
That's a great point, Kim, because not only are they working out, but they're relieving built up stress. I know that I feel less stressed after a workout, so I'm sure having someone there with them, coaching them, they're spilling out everything to you.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And there's something about moving the body that, I mean, is healing for your brain, for your soul. And yeah, things start to, emotions start to come out. I've had people cry while they're running before, and
Oh,
just not because I've been pushing them too hard, but just because they're opening up about things, and they're finding emotions buried deep down inside just through that movement. So
right.
it's yeah, it's been pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure. And it sounds like no two sessions are alike. Every session is different, which keeps it interesting for you.
Absolutely, yes. And I never do the, and to your point, I never do the same workout twice. I don't think I've ever done the same exact workout ever. And I've been doing this for 27 years. So I've,
Wow.
that's probably the reason that I'm still happy with what I do. So I keep it fresh, and I keep it interesting by changing it up every single time I do it.
Does that take a lot of planning on your part? Do you kind of plan ahead what you're going to do for the next day or week? Or do you just kind of at 5 a.m. tomorrow, you're going to get in your groove and you're going to make the work up as you go?
Well, in the very beginning, I had to plan everything out. But as you know, after you do it for so long, you pretty much know, like, I know what muscle groups I'm going to work. So then I'll pick out of 200 exercises. You know what I mean? So it's not something that I have written out that I'm going to do, but it's a basic outline. And then I'll be flexible, because sometimes someone will come in, and if I'm like, okay, today we're going to deadlift, and they're like, my back hurts, well, I'm going to switch it up. So I'm not super regimented that it has to be the specific workout. I can be flexible based on their what's going on with them too.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, it definitely sounds like you have experience. So coming up with a workout on the fly doesn't seem like an issue for you.
Right.
So going back to how you got started, you said you knew from being a junior in high school you wanted to be in personal fitness. When was it that you started your own business, and was that scary to take on that huge task? And I'm sure it was a financial burden at first, and you were questioning maybe whether or not to do it for a while. How did you know this is the time I need to do this for myself?
So I worked at a local fitness center, and I loved it. However, I had babies, and so I had to be a 9 to 5 trainer. And as you heard me in the beginning, now I work 5 to 11 and 4 to 7, basically. So a 9 to 5 trainer just doesn't work. Those were the daycare hours. So it was just hard for me then. So I stayed home with my kids for a year, and I promise you, the way that my personal business started was, I say it's a blessing from God, because I got a phone call one day, somebody wanted to start training with me, wanted me to come to their home. I got a phone call the next week, somebody wanted me to come to their home. I didn't start my business. I always tell people this, God did, and he just put people in my life, and that's how my in-home business honestly started. And I have never really advertised outside of social media, and I have a successful business, and I didn't even plan it that way. So
Wow.
it's been going on for 10 years. Yeah, so it has been a true blessing.
Wow, that's awesome. That's such an awesome success story. And honestly, it's really expensive for promotion sometimes. So you really have a good group of people that you didn't have to pay for any of that really expensive promotion, just social media and word of mouth.
Word of mouth, yes.
Yeah.
It was word of mouth that did it for me, and then and then social media as well. But word of mouth is how I get most of my business.
That's awesome. Like I said earlier, you've been so positive about your role and just have a positive outlook on everything personal fitness wise. Have there been obstacles that you've faced in your field, and what are those? How did you overcome that?
I would say the biggest obstacle in the past 27 years has been 2020 with the whole COVID virus. There's been other obstacles, but this has definitely been the biggest, especially in the fitness industry, because gyms had to close. We had to be super creative in ways to come up with to still try to train people. So a lot of my clients switched to virtual training, which has been super interesting. I have had clients for years that now I can just sit on this side of the camera and instruct them, and it's honestly it's been amazing. We've gotten the same results with the resources that we have. So but in the fitness industry, a lot of gyms have closed. For example, when the Little Turtle Country Club built their fitness center, it was finished in July of 2020 and it could not open. Wow. So that's why I've been here for 2 weeks, because it just recently opened. It was just sitting here with nobody to run it because they built it and then everything shut down.
Wow.
So the fitness industry has seen a huge, a big impact from COVID, and every group fitness trainer, personal trainer has seen that as well. So if you're ever on Facebook or Instagram, you will see tons of personal trainers and group fitness instructors out there promoting their online classes, because that's what we've all had to do, something online and be a little creative with that.
Yeah.
And lots of extra cleaning and lots of extra cleaning supplies. And so it has been really hard to deal with, but I think it's so important not to neglect our physical fitness just because the gym's shut down or you're scared to go to the gym, which I totally get. We still have to do something to stay active. So I would suggest for people to do whatever it takes to find something to stay active and have fun.
Yeah. So due to COVID, have you seen an increase or decrease in your business? Are people more motivated? Do they have more time to work out? Maybe due to job loss or cut hours, or because they're cooped up inside, are you seeing people just, I can't do this right now. I'm at a point where I can't focus on fitness, or a mix of both, perhaps?
So I've seen a significant decrease in my business, partly because I used to train groups, so I would train 3 or 4 people at a time. Well, for everybody's safety, I've cut those groups down. So instead of having 4 people at once, I'll train 1, sometimes 2, but that's been the most I'll train in a session, just to keep people 6 feet apart, keep them safe. So I have seen a decrease in clients in person anyway. Like, I still train some virtually, so that's good. But as far as coming into a facility is definitely decreased. Yeah.
Have you had clients say specifically that they're nervous to come in person, worried about cleaning and just being with maybe someone that they've never met before in their class, a new member per se, even if it's just them and a new member? Have they expressed their concerns for that?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. It seems like that's been the topic of conversation for a year now. So yeah, most people feel a little bit nervous. There's a few people that, it doesn't bother them at all, but for the most part, people are very cautious. And I have some clients that wear their mask their entire workout. And at the fitness center, I wear a mask as I train people. So to help them feel more comfortable. But yeah, so it just depends on the person and it depends on the environment.
Yeah. So even if you meet with the client once a week or 3 times a week, how many times a week do you recommend physical activity? I think we hear 3 times a week is pretty average, but what do you recommend, and how long would you say a workout should be?
So it depends on what you're talking about. I'm going to say for every single human being that you should get up and do something every day. And I'm not talking about go lift 100 pounds. I'm saying get up and move and go for a walk, you know, do something that you're active. And I say do that every day. But as far as working out goes, yeah, they say 3 to 5 days a week. I say whatever works for you. Everybody's different. As long as you're moving a little bit every day, and finding that right balance. And it depends on what your goals are too. So if you're, you know, wanting to run a marathon, then you're going to have to do a little bit more than 3 days a week. But yeah, you just have to figure out what your goal is and then have a plan leading up to that goal. But I think moving every day is the key.
Do you give nutrition advice as well for your clients? Say that they're working out, but they're not eating right. They're not trimming down. They're not feeling better, whatever their goal may be. Do you give that type of advice as well?
So nutrition is what, like 90% of getting to your fitness goals. But as a personal trainer, we cannot legally give diets or at least accept money for diets. However, because it's so important, even whether you're trying to lose weight, gain weight, or maintain, it doesn't matter. Diets are so important because of how it makes you feel, how it makes you, your sleep. It affects everything that we do. So diets are so important. When I say diet, I mean just the food that you eat. The food you eat is so important. As a personal trainer, I cannot give a specific diet, but we talk a lot about nutrition. And I give a lot of advice about nutrition and how to eat, but it's not part of something. You have to be a registered dietitian to actually give someone a diet. So I'd be careful if you're getting diets from trainers, only because they don't know like your background, like if you're a diabetic or whatever's going on with your body. But nutrition is super important. So it is something that we talk about a lot. Yes. It is very hard, especially when it comes to food. I feel like, especially in the year 2020, that everybody resorted to eating and drinking to fill that void of not seeing their friends and family, and so it's been a big challenge. Okay.
Fitness trainer.
So you definitely have to have a strong background in anatomy and physiology, obviously, to figure out, you know, how the muscles work and how to. You need to have the science behind what you're doing as a personal trainer to write up the programs and all of that. So you need that. But just as important, you need that people skill. You need that relationship with people, because you can write up the best workout, but if you treat them like your football coach treated you, they may not come back. Do you understand what I'm saying? So
Right.
your skills that you need the knowledge, but you also need the people skills and the customer service, just what you were saying. Absolutely.
Yeah, the understanding of what they're going through and empathy and trying to help them through whatever obstacles might be in their way.
Yes, and everybody's different. So every body type is different. So what one person reacts well to, someone else may not. So you have to also be flexible in your designing of programs and your delivery method too. So one of my clients may want me to yell at them like I'm a football coach, but the other one may need me to be a little bit sweeter and understanding. So it's figuring everybody out, their bodies and their minds as well.
Right. And your job is to push them. Um, Maybe they need that little extra motivation when they're working out. I know you said you can be understanding and sweet, but is there a point where you do have to be stern with them and say, you're not reaching your goals? that's why I'm here. And do you have to have like a kind of a stern talking with them about why you're meeting with them and what their initial goals were?
You know what? It depends. I mean, if they're trying to reach a goal where they're doing a competition or they're running a marathon or something, then possibly you would have that approach. But I'm going to tell you, as a personal trainer and someone's coming to you and they're paying you, they want to impress me. They want to please me. So it's not very often that I find myself in that position where I'm disappointed in their progress. So to have a stern talk like that, it honestly doesn't work well for most people. But having a different, figuring out what motivates them, it would be the way. And very few of my clients would be motivated with a stern lecture. They're more motivated with incentives.
Okay. And what would be an incentive for some of your folks?
I knew you were going to ask me that. So actually, one of my clients yesterday told me, she said, I've been the most motivated I've ever been. And I was like, okay. And she said, is when you said, I'm like, okay, this is for me, is when I said, we're going to do a before and after picture. The before picture now, and then whatever your goal is, she wanted to lose 10 pounds. Before picture, and in 6 weeks, we're going to do an after picture. If you reach your goal, your after picture is your after picture. If you don't reach your goal, your before and after picture is going to be posted on Facebook.
Wow.
You reached your goal.
Good for her.
So
Yeah.
I'm just saying, that's a silly little thing, but you know what? It motivated her to do it. So, and maybe it's something funny like that, or it just depends on the person. So.
Yeah. And it sounds like you have quite a motivated group, but have you ever had a group member or two maybe just kind of fall off and become unmotivated? How do you get them back on track and try and motivate them?
Yeah, that's a tough one. So, you know, life happens, and there have been times where people are in a group and they, you know, something's going on with their family or their job or something. So that's a tricky one. And again, it depends on the person, but sometimes a personal phone call or just meeting for coffee and figuring out what is going on with them. Because like I said before, it's not just about the physical body, it's about their heart too. And it's the mind body connection is so huge that once you start understanding where people are coming from and what they're dealing with, if they feel like you care about them personally, you know what I mean, that sometimes that's all they need to get motivated to get back in there.
Right. Yeah. It definitely sounds like you care a lot about your clients or even potential clients that are interested in maybe pursuing a personal fitness trainer one day. As for our youth watching today, if they do want to see what a personal fitness trainer does or maybe just get their feet wet, are there entry-level positions that they could start out in to try and see, do I really like this field? Is this what I'm passionate about, before they go all out and get certifications or attempt to get certified?
Absolutely. So I actually started out in a gym folding towels. So just to get myself in that environment to see if that was something that I was interested in. I was teaching group fitness and folding towels basically. And I knew I loved it from, you know, even doing that job. So yeah, definitely get your foot in the door, see if that's an environment that, you know, you like, that you're interested in, if you're a good fit for that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm sure with coronavirus and things that a lot of places might be hiring for extra help because they need things sanitized more often and they have to do the towels a little more often. So yeah, I'm sure there are plenty of opportunities here in Columbus for our youth and young adults.
Yes, I'm sure there are. In fact, because the Little Turtle Country Club is the fitness center's brand new. We are actually looking for some entry-level positions.
Okay.
So there are some opportunities for growth even here.
That's awesome. That's very good to know, and I hope our youth are paying attention. And just heard Kim, there are entry-level positions available at Little Turtle Country Club, and probably a lot of opportunities here in Columbus as well if Little Turtle is not close to where you live.
Right.
Well, Kim, it's been great talking to you today. Do you have any last advice for our youth watching if they're interested in personal fitness training? Any book that maybe they should touch on?
So I would, my bit of advice would be to practice what you preach, first of all. So get out there and hire a trainer, see what it's like to have a trainer. That way you know the ins and outs. That's what I did, as well as I hired someone to see what it was like, how I wanted to be talked to, you know what I mean, how the whole thing felt. So I would say hire a trainer, and if that's not, if you're young and you're not making money yet, just go shadow someone, go shadow a trainer. Honestly, they would love to, or you can come here and shadow me. I would love to help you out in that aspect. There's a lot of books out there that you can read. I would say there's two people that I totally look up to and really, really respect in the fitness center. There's not just two, there's a ton, but I'm going to give you two names. Research Elisa Keaton. She is the founder of Revelation Wellness. She is amazing when it comes to not only the body, but the heart and the soul and how it all combines. And another of my favorite trainers, his name is Jeff Cavalier, and he has such a scientific knowledge of how every single muscle works and where it's inserting and attaching, and he knows how to work the body, and he's amazing. So those are two people that I would, if you want to follow them on social media, they're both a wealth of information.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing those. I'll be sure to look into them. I hope some of our youth do as well. Well, Kim, it's been great talking with you today, and we really appreciate you taking the time to be on A Walk in My Shoes. You are a wealth of knowledge, and I hope our youth really do get something out of this. You touched on a great point, job shadowing. That's actually something that we encourage through CLC. So I'm really glad you touched on that.
Great.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, Kim. It's been great. And thank you, everybody, for watching this episode of A Walk in My Shoes. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.